Now. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now with me, Kanishka Sarkar and Ankita Saxena, a show where we'll get our experts to answer all your stock-specific queries. Don't forget to share your queries on the number that will shortly flash on your screen. Do mention your stock, the stock that you want our view on, the holding price, and also the holding period for your stock. But before we get started with all the stock-specific queries, Ankita, another sluggish day coming on the D Street?
Absolutely, Kanishka. In fact, the selling has intensified rather. If you look at Nifty, it is below 25,100 levels. Also, 2580 is where Nifty is perched at. We have managed to recover from the day's lowest point, but it's a very, very minor recovery of 30 odd points from the day's lows. But nonetheless, we are the selling has intensified and we are below the 25,100 mark on the Nifty. As far as Nifty's bank is also concerned, Nifty Bank is also, has given up those little bit of uptick that we saw in the morning. We are down 150 points from the day's highest point. As you can see, we are trading towards hovering around the day's lowest point on Nifty Bank as well. But really, the action is happening in the broader market. If you look at the broader markets, Nifty mid cap is trading with gains of 0.6% and small cap is also up 0.8%. So small caps are clearly firing on all cylinders amid a market where the selling has intensified on the benchmark indices. It's the broader market that is really holding the fort right now. As far as the sectoral indices are concerned, we have Nifty Media, that is a top sectoral gainer. Zee Entertainment is up and away 4% in trade. That is buoying the sentiment in the entire media pack. The PSU banking names are also doing very well, like Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, PNB. These are all trading upwards of 1% odd. On the losing side, we have Nifty IT. Now remember, post the results for TCS, we have seen a Nifty IT to be reeling under some pressure, and that pressure continues on Nifty IT, which is trading with cuts of almost 1% in trade. We have Nifty Financial Services also that are reeling under some pressure right now, especially the big banks like ICICI, Kotak Bank that are reeling under pressure right now. But there are a couple of other names like Avenue Supermarts that is in focus today on the back of its results, and there has been a miss coming in on the profitability and the EBITDA side, and brokerages have given a bearish call on Avenue Supermarts. On the back of that, Avenue Supermarts is in focus trading right now with cuts of 0.8%. We also have BEML that is in focus on the back of the fact that the board meeting will be held on 21st of July to consider a stock split. So BEML is trading upwards of 1.5% in trade. NCC is also in focus as the company has received a contract which is valued over 2,200 crores. So NCC is up and away 1.3% in trade. We also have AU Small Finance Banks, which is seeing a downgrade that is coming for Kotak Securities. They have downgraded the counter to sell. On the back of that, AU Small Finance Bank is seeing a cut of almost 1.8% there. Then a couple of block deals like on Varun Beverages, NMDC. These are all block deal candidates. On the back of that, these two counters are in focus. And we also had we also have a couple of the capital stocks, the capital theme that is buzzing in trade. In fact, after declining for 2 days, we do see a recovery coming in on BSE, CAMS, Angel One, and CDSL, which are all up after the decline that we saw coming in. So buying coming in all these counters. So that's how largely the construct of the market is, Kanishka. Advanced decline ratio is very, very even right now. They are trading at the same level. So that's how the market is shaping up right now.
All right, so that's how the market is shaping up. But to get our experts on board, Gaurang Shah, who's the Senior Vice President at Geojit Investments, is now joining us alongside Akshay Bhagwat, who's the Senior Vice President, Derivatives Research at JM Financial Services. So requesting our viewers to share your stock-related queries on WhatsApp, ping us on the number that's flashing on your screen, and get investment analysis on your holding and tips too for fresh buys in the market, right? To us ASAP. But before we get started with all the stock-related queries, Gaurang sir, coming to you first, what are you making of the markets at this point?
Well, morning to all of you all. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think some amount of respite, I must say, this morning after last week's 3 days of correction. Last week, we started off the week this Monday morning at a much more lower level, but there has been some amount of recovery. It is good to see that we have managed to hold out Nifty spot level of 25,000. The low that we saw this morning was somewhere close to about 25,050. If we are able to manage this, then I think upside opens up in terms of higher level upside, 25,200 to 25,300. If a breach of 28,000, then we can head lower in terms of lower levels, 24,900 to 24,800. Earnings kicked off last week with TCS numbers were not very encouraging. Markets reacted accordingly. But this week, we have a whole host of numbers. For example, Friday, I believe, 18th of July, Reliance post-market will announce its numbers. So direction, I think, to the markets will be given by first quarter earnings. Let's hope that whatever remains to be seen in terms of first quarter earnings is a shade better than what we've seen last quarter, last financial year.
Right, so better results is what we are expecting according to Gaurang, but we are also joined by Akshay Bhagwat, who's a Senior Vice President Derivatives Research, JM Financial Services. Hi, Akshay, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get started with all the questions, then keep sending in your stock questions. The number is flashing on top of your screen and we'll get them answered by the experts that have joined us. Let's get started with all the questions then. This is Anita who's writing in from Pune. She wants to know about Prestige Estate. Is it worth investing at current levels? Akshay, Prestige Estate, current levels, is it a good time to get in?
First of all, good morning. Yeah. On the technical price charts, it's the fourth month back on back where we are seeing gains in Prestige Estates from 1,050 odd levels to 1,694 is where it trades. So yes, from an investment horizon, if your time horizon is over 1 year, definitely it makes a lot of sense to buy. But I would suggest if you want to micro time this, then you need to distribute your buying from a current market price to 1,600 range. And you can possibly look forward for its all-time high targets near 2,100. That's the first target where we need to again revise further once it tests those levels. But right now, going by the current technical setup, 2,100 can be projected within a time horizon of a year.
Okay, so that's the view on Prestige Estates. Gaurang sir, now coming to you, we have a query for the long term. It's on Marico. K. Narasimha Reddy has written from Hyderabad. They want to know if Marico is a good long-term bet. They have 160 shares at a price of 627 rupees.
So before I give out any stock-specific recommendations, I think it's prudent to give a disclosure. All recommendations on the fundamental side, long-term, are a part of our research team. Our company, Geojit, or I do not have any personal investments or any financial interest in the recommendations given by, nor there is any kind of conflict of interest, but we give similar recommendations to our clients. They might have investment interest in the recommendations given. On Marico, I think the FMCG pack, especially the non-discretionary side, looks quite robust in terms of growth visibility going into the future. Announcement by Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharamanji in the budget, 12.75 lakhs, no tax. Good monsoon will result in good agri-productivity, which will result into good spending with semi-urban rural India, which will support the volume side. On metros, tier 1, tier 2 cities, you have some support coming in. Marico happens to be one of the leaders in some of the niche brands that they have, power brands as we call it. Our research team has an accumulate stance. That means you can hold on to the stock if you have investable amount. In case if your price is higher than where the stock is trading right now, on dips you can add on to it. We expect FMCG to perform well post third quarter, that is October, November, December this year. Once we have kickoff in terms of ground level green shoots on consumption side, and you have festive season also starting from next month onwards. So that should support the demand.
That's the view coming in on Marico. But let me get on board the next question. This is also a long-term query coming in. So perhaps you would like to take this, Gaurang. This is for EID Parry. This is Vivek who's writing from Mumbai. He wants to know about EID Parry. He's holding he's holding shares at a buying price of 580 rupees. He wants to know, he wants to hold it for a longer period of time, but he's a little confused if he should be holding it and what should be the holding period really.
Well, honestly, currently we don't have coverage on EID Parry, so I won't be able to give stock specific buy, sell and hold, but excuse me, this is one small to mid cap stock in the last 1 to 1.5 years has given phenomenal returns in terms of upside move. And that is all thanks to the earning visibility. Well, sound company in terms of balance sheet management, absolutely no problem. But we don't have any coverage, I won't give a buy, sell and hold on this.
Okay, so that's the view on EID Parry. But on that note, we'll take a very short break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. We'll be right back with more on the other side.
buying price for the stock, your holding period, and your question, and we'll get them answered by experts. Gaurang Shah, who's also joined us, and Akshay Bhagwat, who has joined us as an expert. So let's get going with all the questions then. This one's coming from Achar, who's writing in from Tamil Nadu. He says he wants to know about Reliance shares, that he's bought 50 shares of Reliance. This is for the longer term, more than 5 years he wants to hold it, and he also has Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv, and he wants to hold that for a shorter period of time, say for a year or two. Wants to know your outlook, Gaurang. Coming to you for this one, a Reliance for the next 5 years and Bajaj Finance and Finserv for the next 1 or 2 odd years.
Well, so I'll keep my comments restricted to two names, that is Bajaj Finance and Reliance Industries, because on Bajaj Finserv, our research team does not have a coverage. Bajaj Finance company, which was recently adjusted its price for bonus and split. This is one stock, if I'm not mistaken, even last year from October, when the markets were in a correction mode, thanks to the FI selling. This is one large cap stock amongst the NBFC pack, which was able to hold out very smartly and has managed to, before it went adjusted for split and bonus, it had touched a new all-time high, virtually trading closer to new all-time high if you take the adjusted price. We have a buy recommendation from our research team on Bajaj Finance. Hold on to it. Reliance Industries, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, Friday, 18th of July, post-market, Reliance Industries will announce its first quarter numbers. As far as I recollect, we have been maintaining a buy stroke hold on Reliance Industries from a long-term point of view. My sense is that whatever investments that the company has made in the new business, along with the commentary in the AGM, diversified businesses contributes to the balance sheet. Last week, there was a little bit of disappointment because the street was expecting an announcement in terms of hiving off its geocellular business and listing as a separate entity, which did not happen, which spooked the market a little bit. But I think these short-term negativity should be ignored if you're a long-term investor. I believe he said he has a 5 to 10 year time horizon. So don't be satisfied by holding just a few double-digit shares of Reliance Industries. In fact, both Reliance Industries and Bajaj Finance, if you have a long-term horizon, I would advise you should use dips to add into both these stocks if you have investable amount from a long-term point of view and a long-term time horizon.
Okay, so that's the view on RIL and Bajaj Finance. But moving on from a company that is about to report its results on July 18 to one that has already reported, TCS, that already has delivered its numbers, and it's been a mixed set of numbers. Akshay, now coming to you, Subrata Mukherjee has written to us from Kolkata. He wants to know if it's the right time still to buy into TCS.
Yeah, so what I understand is post results, the stock has broken its short-term technical price support, which was roughly around 33.50. So with the breakdown, which we saw in form of a gap down, it just opens up a short-term downside in TCS. But really, if you're searching for levels from more of a medium to longer-term perspective, technically there is a very strong support zone at the level of 3,000 in TCS. So probably at the current levels, I think you should start buying the stock once it gets below the level of 3,100. So 3,000 to 3,100 is the level where you can start accumulating TCS from a longer term horizon, because that's a very strong technical support. And my belief is that there should be a bounce back from the support zones which I've mentioned.
All right, so that's the view coming in on TCS. But let's move on to the next question. This is Hitesh who's writing in. He wants to know for long term, he wants some stocks that give you good dividend yields, and he wants some recommendation for a stock that gives perhaps good dividend. He's looking to invest 1 lakh rupee each in these stocks, like two stocks that he wants that give good dividend yield. Gaurang, let me come to you for this one.
Well, see, first of all, investing in a stock, according to me, on the fundamental side, just because you want dividend, well, let me make it very clear that giving out dividend to shareholders is not a compulsion by the board of directors or the management. It is an option. If there is surplus cash and if they don't have anywhere to deploy it, then they reward the shareholders with dividend. So it is not a compulsion. And dividend should not be the only thumb rule why you should invest in a stock. You should also look at the fundamentals of the stock, working of the company, management, earning visibility, and where does the management want to take the company going forward into the future. So there are multiple thumb rules. That dividend is not the only thumb rule, and it is not a compulsion, as I said. If I have to go by what he's requested for, then I think by default, government-owned companies are the best suited companies in terms of giving out dividends. Government of India is the largest stakeholder, and every year you have, on an average, if I'm not mistaken, 20% dividend payout, maybe a couple of percentage plus minus here and there. Reflecting upon what I just mentioned, our fundamental team has a coverage on a couple of PSU stocks, Coal India, all the three oil marketing companies, HPCL, BPCL, IOC, and along with that, exploration companies like ONGC and GAIL. We have coverage on all this, but like I mentioned, dividend is not a compulsion, it is an option. And there are variable parameters that you should look at. Dividend payout ratio is one of them, not the only one.
Okay, so that's the view. Now moving on, Akshay, coming to you, we want your technical view on KPIT Tech. Nikhil Sharma has written from Mumbai. He has 20 shares of KPIT Tech at a price of 1,255 rupees. He was predicting a target of 1,350. He wants to know when will be the right time to exit this stock, or is it better to hold on?
Well, if you look at the monthly charts of KPIT Tech, what I understand is the last 4 months, the stock has been confined to a trading range. Now, clearly on the price chart, it is evident that your support zone is somewhere around 1200 roughly, and 1400 is where the upside resistance is. Now, since you have kept a potential target of 1350, that's what you look forward to on the trades which you have committed to. It is more of a short to medium term nature of trade, and for that, the support zone with which you should work with is 1200. Till 1200 holds, the probability of the stock hitting the targets of 1500 in the next couple of months looks a higher probability. So hold on to the targets of 1350, 1400. Keep a risk management stop loss below 1200. That's the trade I can see from a short to medium term on KPIT Tech.
All right, moving on then from KPIT Tech to the next counter, which is this is Ayappan who's writing in. He wants to know about M&M Finance. He wants to know if this is the good time to get into M&M Finance. Akshay, let me come to you for M&M Finance, and if the current levels are good to enter this counter.
Well, honestly, if you look at the price charts, I think it's been 7 or 8 months. This stock has been confined in a trading range. It's more of a neutral technical setup where clearly it is evident on the charts that your support zone is somewhere around 250 and the resistance is 280. So there is no clear trade which I can forecast at this moment from a short-term perspective. If your time horizon is more than a year, then possibly the support zone extends a bit till 230. And if you can give that much of time for this holding, then I would suggest hold on to the stock. The momentum picking point where the stock catches on aggressively on the upside is once it gets past the level of 290, in which case you can then probably look forward for targets of 330.
Okay, so those are the targets to look at for M&M Finance. But moving on, Gaurang sir, coming to you, our viewer Sriram, he wants your view on BSE. What's the longer term outlook on this counter?
So let me give a perspective about the sector, because I think the Indian capital market sector has been buzzing off late for quite some time. In fact, we have a positive view on the sector, that is the Indian capital markets, and the understanding and the rationale is very simple. If we expect the Indian stock markets to do well in the next 3 years, 5 years, or maybe more, then all those entities which are fundamentally strong, whether it is a platform provider, for example, it is not a recommendation. For example, it is something like a BSE, or a service provider. So something like a CDSL or CAMS or an intermediary, strong intermediaries. All of them are likely to do well, because if the Indian stock market do well, the positive reflection of Indian stock markets doing well, capital markets doing well, fall upon all these companies. For BSE, there is a tailwind. I believe there was some news which is not yet confirmed that by July end, NSE IPO progress with respect to the NSE IPO should pick up steam. There is another positive for companies like CDSL, which are service provider, IPO of NSDL. This is also a tailwind positive. So if the stock market does well, all the entities which are strong fundamentally is also likely to do well. BSC happens to be a platform provider, a reasonable market share. And if volumes have to go up, the income levels will also go up. Won't give specific buy, sell and hold because we don't have coverage on BSC Limited.
All right. With that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere after the break. We'll keep taking your queries and getting them answered by the experts. Stay tuned.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ।
She has bought the BDL 69 shares at a buying price of 1,960 rupees. What is the short-term target? Please advise. Actually, coming to you, what would be the target for BDL? She's already sitting at a loss now. Do you see an up move coming in, or should she be selling out? Should she probably cutting her losses right now?
Well, for BDL, if you look at the monthly charts, a couple of months back, you had a very strong technical breakout, which was on support of volumes. This was seen at the levels of 1700. That was a very positive development in the script. And lately, the volumes have been dry. The stock has been trading in a sideways time correction. So in all due thoughts, I think the stock should recover back again. The short-term technical support, which I see right now, is somewhere around 1800, from where you can again anticipate a recovery. That has been the trend of the stock in the last few trading sessions. So the suggestion is to continue to hold. From a risk management perspective, you can keep a stop loss below 1700, and on expected lines, if the recovery matures out from the current levels as expected, you can possibly look forward for targets of 2100.
Okay, so can look at targets of 2100 and a whole call coming for Bharat Dynamics. But moving on, Gaurang sir, coming to you, our viewer Anita has written to us from Pune. She wants your view on Adani Group of companies. She wants to know if any of them is worth investing in at the current levels for a medium term perspective, specifically Adani Enterprises, Adani Green, Adani Ports and Adani Power.
So there are two things over here which is very complicated. One is we don't have coverage on Adani Group of companies, and second is I'm not absolutely capable of recommending anything from a short to medium term point of view. So I'll give this a pass.
Come to you with this question. Adani Group of companies, which one would be your pick? And at current levels, for medium term perspective, where can Anita put in her money?
Well, right now, I think based completely on the price chart reading, Adani Ports and Adani Enterprises. These are the two stocks which I believe you can consider investing from a technical perspective. But really, time is the key here, because short to medium term, the stock might see some more price fluctuations or choppiness. So what I understand is 2200 in Adani Enterprises is a very strong technical support. The chances of this breached below eventually in the next few months looks very low probability. I'm expecting a upside or a recovery with a time horizon of 1 year plus, where you can possibly look forward for targets of roughly 3400. So this is what you can targets you can work with for Adani Enterprise. And coming to Adani Ports, which is the other possible stock in the Adani Group, which has a strong technical setup from a longer term horizon. 1436 is where Adani Port trades. Might get a bit choppy between 1350 to 1450 where it trades from a shorter term perspective, but eventually I think all-time high levels till 1600 is where you can potentially target this stock from a 1 year plus investment horizon.
Okay, so that's the view on Adani Group of companies. But we have another query coming from Vedahi, who's written to us from Chennai. She's holding stocks of 100 shares of Hindustan Zinc at a price of 484 rupees per share. She's been holding it for nearly 1 month and would like to hold for another 6 months. Is it a good time to add to this, or should she should exit, Akshay?
Well, if time is a constraint, 6 months is the max time you can give to the stock, then I have some reservations, because really from a short to medium term perspective, I do not see much of a significant upside in Hindustan Zinc. My thought is the stock might get confined in a trading range. Possibly the lower end of the range works out till 375, and the upper end where there is strong resistance eventually, which we are noting from the last 4-5 months, is somewhere around 475. So if you are keen on the metals pack and really from a 6-month time frame, if you are keen, I think you can look forward to Vedanta or Tata Steel. Vedanta has a good technical setup. Although it's resisting last 4 months at around 475, my thought process is eventually this resistance should breach and open up for targets till 525. And Tata Steel is the another name here where although there is a resistance at 170, a 6-month horizon can potentially see the stock moving up for 185 levels.
All right. Moving on to the next question then. This is Suparna, who's writing in from Mumbai. Gaurang, this one's for you. Wants to know if it is wise to invest in Aditya Birla Capital from a long-term perspective, or to go with names like Titan, Trent or M&M, which are considered to be safer bets. What would be your call, Gaurang?
Well, honestly, there is nothing like safe or assured returns in stock market. So one needs to have absolute clear understanding about the stock market. Stock markets are exposed to all kind of risk, whether it is locally or globally, and you need to have elevated risk appetite in case if you eventually understand, do a little bit of study, and then decide to invest in stock market. I would comment on 2 names over here, Titan and M&M. These are the 2 recommendations from our research team on the fundamental side from a long-term point of view. Start at current levels as and when, because of uncertainty, when the markets give you dip or these stocks see lower levels, you can add on to it. But I will again repeat, there is absolutely no safe or guaranteed return in stock market. So you need to be clear about this, and the fact that investment in stock market is high risk, high return.
Okay, so that's the view on Trent and M&M. But M&M, moving on, Ayush has written to us. He wants to know whether till what price point is it good to buy ITC hotels, and also is it a good time to add Ashok Leyland and or Bank of Baroda to the portfolio? Akshay, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure. So if you were to micro time ITC hotels, 230 is the current market price. It's technically sound, moving in a healthy uptrend, and the recent support, the recent swing low is somewhere around 218. So I think to time buying, I think 225 is a good rate. If you get that price, it will be a good entry to buy and hold ITC hotels from a trading perspective. And if a view has to be made on other stock, Ashok Leyland, which you mentioned, yes, definitely it fits on technical price charts. This stock has been trading pretty strong in the last 4 months. It has bounced exactly from a monthly trend line support at 200 and is immediately setting up for testing its all-time high levels, which is roughly around 265, and going by the broader technical pattern, the chances of breaking this swing high and moving for targets till 300 looks a higher probability. So Ashok Leyland, yes, you can buy and hold. Time horizon minimum 6 months plus will get you to those targets.
All right, that's the technical view on Ashok Leyland. Moving on to the next question then. This is they have not written the name. Okay, this is Revant who's written in. He says he has accumulated few stocks currently in multiple SIPs and he's willing to hold it for more than 2 to 3 years. He wants to know your view on, he also has 550 shares of Scientix at an average price of 1,298. He wants to know the target for this. Actually, let me come to you for this one. For Scientix.
Yeah. Look, in Scient, the technical setup is negative from a broader perspective. We have been correcting since January 2024, from levels of 2300 to 1200, which we saw a couple of months back. There is a small attempt of bounce back, but right now, going by the current data evidence, whatever I have, it is more of a trading pullback I see, which at the best can see targets till 1400 or 1450. So in wake of the broader technical setup, which is weak, and it's more of a short to medium term outlook, I think 1400, 1425 are the potential levels where you can look as an exit. And till then, you can work with a revised stop loss or keep a risk management stop loss below at about 1150 on this long trade which you have.
Okay, so 1425 is the target to track for the stock. But on that note, we'll take a very short break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. We'll be right back with more queries on the other side.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ, सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
When the stakes are high and the answers are elusive, there's one voice unafraid to.
Well, this one is a tricky one, to be honest, amongst the entire BFSI segment, private sector, small stroke, mid-cap bank category. And the reason why I say this, because of the earnings volatility. And that is primarily because of the loan book exposure to the semi-urban rural India. And of course, the asset quality and the reported numbers. So you have some quarters of extraordinary performance, and you have some quarters of below expectation numbers getting reported. Having said that, we have an accumulated stance from a long-term point of view. Some time back, we had a change as far as the top management is concerned. Our understanding is that this should bring in new vision, new strategy, and should also streamline and possibly draw down the gross and net NPA levels, improve provisioning back into the balance sheet, wherein the balance sheet is likely to become much more stronger. So, and he's got about 2 years time horizon, continue to hold on to it. And if you possibly get a dip somewhere close to about 150, 160 levels on bad days, then you can add to it from a long-term point of view.
Long-term call coming in for Bandhan Bank, but Akshay, let me come to you for this one. What are the levels to watch out for as far as Bandhan Bank is concerned? It is sitting at 175, and like Gaurang mentioned, you should accumulate more. Should there be a dip towards 150 odd levels? What would be your target for Bandhan Bank, say for the next 1 year time horizon?
Yeah. So Bandhan Bank right now, if I were to look at it from a technical perspective, it's in a slight downtrend, and there is a strong resistance at the levels of 200, from where we have seen some bit of profit booking, as you may say, because last 3-4 months we had some bit of a pullback rally in the stock. So the stock is, yes, trying to recover, but there is still not much technical evidence which would suggest that there will be a very strong rally going ahead. So the levels to watch would be a support of around 165. That is a good support. In case you get that dip, that is worth taking a bet from a pullback perspective. And yes, if the stock moves up, you can look forward for targets still around 200 to 210.
Okay, so 200 to 210 are the targets to keep an eye on for Bandhan Bank. But that's all the time we have for our stock-specific queries today. Thank you so much, Akshay and Gaurang, for joining us today. On that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much. All right, then on to some more news updates. Now, insurance regulator IRDAI's 130th board meeting is set to take place today. The meeting, headed by senior-most member in the absence of the chairman, will discuss the issue of insurance fraud, among others. Let's go across to Anurag Shah for more details.
insurance regulator IRDA's 130th board meeting is happening today, and this board meeting will be chaired by a senior most member of IRDA, PK Arora. So in absence of regular chairman, PK Arora to chair this meeting. PK Arora is a member actuary at IRDA, and as per our sources in today's board meeting, Kiwi General Insurance, which is a company promoted by Westbridge Capital and Nilesh Garg, Westbridge Capital, to hold 60% stake in Kiwi General Insurance. So this new general insurance company is likely to receive license from IRDA to start operations. Other than that, one issue also likely to discuss related to the claim frauds. Recently, Sambal police has uncovered a mega 500 crore insurance claim scam. So a few board members to raise the issue of claim frauds in insurance also, because eventually that impacts insurance premium also. As per our sources, a few board members to raise this issue also related to the claim fraud. So a stronger mechanism can be adopted by insurance companies. So these are the main issues which will be raised in today's board meeting.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Kanishka and I will see you tomorrow with all your stock-related questions getting answered by our experts. So stay tuned, but don't go anywhere because the market action continues on ET Now.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ, सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
When the stakes are high and the answers are elusive, there's one voice unafraid to challenge the status quo.
At 8 p.m., I am not here to sugarcoat the truth.